Ready.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for attending this wonderful webinar. We have amazing information for all of you. Today, we have a special guest, Matthew Levy, who is the Chief Strategist Officer for Lpt Realty. So welcome, Matthew. We
Thank
also
you.
have my colleague, Maria Estupinan. She's
Hello,
a
everyone.
realtor for LPT, and myself, Kelby Contreras, also a realtor for LPT. So we are excited to show you this presentation and all the benefit for all you guys. So without further ado, let's start. So Matthew, welcome, and tell us about yourself. Give us a brief background of who you are.
Sure. Thank you very much for having me tonight. I'm excited to be here. My name is Matthew Levy, and I get the privilege of working really closely with Robert Palmer. He's the founder. I met Robert in 2009 when I was working at a charity. I was raising money for Special Olympics Florida, and I recruited Robert as a sponsor. And so I got to know him as a philanthropist, really, and we grew a friendship. And after about 10 years at Special Olympics, I decided I was going to make a change. And I went to talk to Robert and say, hey, I'm going to leave Special Olympics. And he said, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know. And he said, why don't you come work for me? And I said, what am I going to do? And he said, I don't know. So that was about 7 years ago. And we've had quite a few adventures. And the most exciting of which is Lpt Realty. We launched this company back in February, and it's just been a really one exciting moment to the next.
Excellent.
Very good. Okay. We have a few questions for you, Matthew. So we're going to start with the question. And I just want to let you know to everybody that is participating in this webinar that if you have more questions, we're going to answer the question at the end of the session. So you can write the questions here at the chat, and we are going to answer all the questions here, okay? Matthew, how LPT is different from the other brokers in the market right now?
It's a great question. So I believe that the thing that Robert did that is unique or novel or innovative was that he was able to provide full service brokerage benefits at 100% commission pricing. And let me explain that a little bit more. When Robert was thinking about launching the brokerage, he said there are two main compensation plans that are standing out in the marketplace. And he said there's the 100% commission or flat fee, and there's the traditional split plan. And he was deciding which platform, which model he was going to build his business around. And one day he called me up and he said, I've come up with something, dual path. And I thought, okay, Robert, what are you talking about? And he said, just come over and I'll explain it to you. And so what he was able to do is create a way for agents to receive the benefits of a full service brokerage that include things like technology, marketing, education, strong brands, and stock and rev share. And he was able to provide that opportunity at 100% commission pricing. And I can explain further how that works in our ecosystem, but I believe that's probably the most significant difference that we have compared to any other brokerage in the world at this point.
Awesome. Okay, what is the LPT futures goals and predictions?
Yeah, so if you consider that, and let me give a little bit more, if you consider that we have a more inclusive compensation model, you know, if you're going to go look at EXP or Keller, you're looking at a split plan where the cap is 16,000, and with the franchise fee at Keller even more. And then you were sitting over at LPT and you have a $5,000 cap, and you offer all the things that I mentioned. The idea is that more people can fit in our brokerage because we're more inclusive. And so Robert's stated goal is to build the biggest brokerage in the world. And he thinks he can do it. We're off to a great start. And the reason that that would be important to the agents is because they are owners of the company. They are awarded stock. It's the only way to become an owner of LPT. You can earn your ownership or your equity position or your stock awards. You can earn them through doing deals or recruiting agents underneath you. And it functions very similar to the way, if those are familiar with EXP, where you can recruit down to 7 levels. And as those agents transact, you get a small amount of money, and that becomes recurring revenue for you and also kind of bolsters you towards a retirement. And that was one of the problems that Robert sought out to solve for.
Okay, that is part of the answer to my next question, but it's awesome because that is what are the part of what is LPT, the compensation plans and benefits for us that LPT is gonna to offer to all the realtors, you know.
Yeah, so think of it like this.
Okay.
The traditional path an LPT agent might follow is that they would enter at our 100% commission plan, which we call a business builder. You're building your business. And on that plan, you pay $500 a file for 10 deals, and you cap at $5,000.
Okay.
In addition to that, we have, well, I'll answer that at the end. And then you are permitted to recruit a downline while you're in the business builder compensation plan. So you can go ahead and start recruiting. You can get people underneath you, but to unlock the revenue share dollars that that downline would generate, you need to upgrade to the split plan, which we call revenue share partner, because you are now sharing in the revenue of the company. And that is an 80-20 split with a $15,000 cap. Half of the money that the company receives goes into the rev share pool, and it's split, shared down 7 levels. So if you're a business builder and you transact, you pay us $500, and we put 250 of that into the rev share pool, and it's shared out through the 7 levels. And then if you're at the 80-20 plan, then we take 20% as the company, and we put 10% or half of the 20% into the rev share pool. And so those are how the compensation plans relate to each other. Robert has also incentivized people to upgrade to the, I guess, more expensive plan, the 80-20 plan, not the 500-5,000 plan, by offering additional stock grants to agents who are on that plan. And today, if you were to lock in, and I know this is changing on 8-8, rev share partners receive twice the amount of stock that a business builder would receive, and that'll be grandfathered in for the life of your relationship with the brokerage.
Okay, so basically you start with 100% commission, right? And then you can just change it to the revenue plan 80-20 with the split.
You can upgrade anytime. And Robert's motivation for doing that was he thinks it's hard to be a realtor. And I'll pick on EXP a little bit here, but with EXP, you're basically saying, hey, pay us $16,000 for the privilege of building a downline and receiving revenue share. But the day that you join the brokerage, you don't have a downline. There is no revenue share. And so Robert thought that was unfair. So he said he likens it to try before you buy, because not everybody is good at recruiting. And if you aren't successful, then you're stuck in a plan that doesn't work for you. And Robert has been tracking what he calls the migration patterns of agents by looking at the way where they go after they leave EXP in particular. And what he was noticing is that there was this great exodus to the flat fee model. People were not succeeding at recruiting, and so they would go there. And that really helped Robert to understand that if those two things could be connected, if he could bolt those two things together, that he would provide a great advantage to the agents. And you know, it's not a secret because we're broadcasting it and through social media, but since February 1st, so a little less than 6 months, in the state of Florida, we've been able to have over 1,000 agents join us. And the validation of that is it's really exciting. You know, we worked on this project for close to a little more than 3 years, putting it together before we decided that we were ready to launch. and then to see it go and have it received this way has been really, really rewarding.
And
Okay.
Matthew, you mentioned also something that blew my mind because we both came from EXP is
Mhm.
the payment structure on your downline, because in EXP you have on your first line they only pay 3.5% versus you guys paying 31%. That was like mind blowing for me when you guys.
Yes. So Robert's thinking was that you really control your direct recruits. Like that's you getting them. And he wanted to reward that. In fact, the second level, we pay out 18%. So in the first two levels, we pay out 49% of the revenue share pool. And Robert believes when he studied really where people were landing with EXP, he realized that the majority of people were getting to 1 to 2 levels. It was a different type of recruiter that was going deeper than that. And he wanted to make sure those people got rewarded for the efforts of their own recruiting. And I want to add one thing. We aren't EXP 2.0. And one of the major differences between us and EXP is that we really are focused on doing real estate. We are not trying to attract people who are here to exclusively recruit. We want to incentivize people to do deals. If somebody comes in and recruits a lot of people and never does a deal, they don't contribute anything to the revenue share pool. They just take money out. And so one difference is that we take your revenue share to retire your cap, which is different than EXP. So for example, if you got a heavy recruiter in and they didn't transact and they had a big downline, the first $15,000 of revenue share would go to retire their cap. And that is a big difference and something that we're proud of because it sets the culture. You know, we're here, we believe that we're providing the best tools. And I'm happy to talk about the tools to allow agents to sell more real estate. And that's the business we're in. We're not a multi-level marketing company that does real estate. We're a real estate company that offers multi-level marketing.
Yeah, now that you mentioned the tools, go ahead. Tell us what type of tools you guys offer.
Yeah, so I think it's a very exciting package. Robert is a technologist, something you should know. Robert writes software code. So the first thing that Robert did was look around like, how can I get a piece of software that manages tracking revenue share, tracking commissions, handling all the splits, and has the nimbleness and the complexity to handle all sorts of different deals. And he said, well, it's not out there. And because Robert writes software code, Robert wrote it himself, and that's called LPT Connect. And it's a mobilely enhanced website. Robert believes that everything should be done on your phone if you choose to. So everything in our ecosystem can work on your phone. And it's a place where all of your systems can be accessed in one place. You can manage your transactions. You can track your stock. You can access the marketing tools, which I'm excited to tell you about. You can access our education. You can kick off a chat with our compliance and support teams. It's kind of like an all-in-one, and we call that LPT Connect. We offer .loop to every agent, and while you can do the work in any platform you want, today when you need to upload your contract into the system, you have to do it through .loop for compliance. And then the way that I think about our tools is we have a tool that handles your digital presence, and that is a CRM called Chime. And Chime is sort of the gold standard in this space. If you were to purchase on the street what they offer to us, because we offer the full suite, it's over $1,000 a month to buy what we're giving every agent, regardless of what plan they're on. And it's pretty slick. It's a website builder. So you build your website. It's got an IDX integration, and the IDX is what they call a smart IDX. So it basically understands what people are searching for and automates nurturing campaigns that continue to send out lookalike homes to keep your buyers and people looking at homes interested. And it's super easy to use, and it's got integration with Facebook and Google pay-per-click, and it's very slick how that works, and it's very efficient. It's got an AI bot, so there's a little if you email or text, it'll respond if you're not around to keep the warm lead warm. And a funny story was this woman got signed up, and she calls up support and she says, "Hey, somebody's stealing my leads. It's named Anna, and they're talking to my clients." And what she didn't realize was it was the AI bot talking to her clients. That was somewhat funny. But but we offer that product to every agent, and we have all sorts of support videos ready to educate. And then on the print side, the way we look at it is we've solved your digital presence. On your print marketing, Robert created a company which is really the genesis for the brokerage. It was called Listing Power Tools. That's the LPT in Lpt Realty. And what he was able to do was he created a print marketing solution for listings. Agents will upload 3 photographs and the listing address, and it'll produce a kit of printed material that features them and the home. And it comes packaged in a box. Everything's individually wrapped in cellophane, and it includes over 150 pieces of marketing material, flyers, business cards, door hangers, thank you cards. And it's got this really cool lead gen component baked into it, where every agent is assigned a dedicated phone number, and every property gets a unique code. When the code is text to the number, it returns a single property website that we build in the background for you. And then it becomes lead capture for you. But most importantly, it's a way for you as an agent to differentiate yourself from your peers, because every agent will stick a yard sign in the ground and put the house on the MLS. You as the agent can win listings by walking and saying, everybody else does that, but I have this amazing marketing tool, and it's been battle tested for 6 years. And then on top of that, we supercharge it with these magazines, and one's called the Active Marketing Plan and one's called 9 Critical Questions. And we templatize it, but we put your face on the top, and they're very professional looking magazines, and they're leave behinds. So for example, on the 9 Critical Questions, all those questions, we are the answer. So do you have a multi-touch marketing system that uses print and digital? We do, I'm showing it to you, but it basically sets you up as the expert. And so we've had a lot of success with that. So to recap, we've got LPT Connect, proprietary software to manage the company, .loop to handle your contracts and your data storage for documents. We've got on your digital side, Chime, a very powerful CRM. And we have a print solution called Listing Power Tools, which is proprietary as well. That Listing Power Tools Power Pack is provided to every agent for every listing they get forever. And it's very, very cool product.
I gotta admit, that was like mind blowing when I went to your presentation, because previously my previous broker, I used to pay $85 per month. And just the fact that you guys offering all these tools for free, that was like, oh my God, how can they possibly afford to provide all these tools for free? And especially Shine, which is top of the line CRM.
Let me answer that, because we don't hide the ball. There is no secret sauce here. We want people to understand how we're doing it. So first of all, Robert wrote Listing Power Tools, and Robert owns the print shop, and he doesn't treat it as a profit center. In fact, those magazines that I was talking about, we pass them through at our cost at $1 a piece. With respect to Chime, Robert wrote a very large check at the beginning, and he said, I want to grow with you, so make this deal scalable. I'll pay you a big chunk up front, but then on a per agent basis, we'll go ahead and have a much more affordable amount of money to offer this to the agents. And oh, by the way, we want to offer everything, including your power dialer, your AI bot, all your bells and whistles. And they're really, truly bought in as partners. But one of the secrets of our model, or one of the things that is not obvious to people, is that business builders at the flat fee, the 500, 5,000 plan, they are voluntarily forfeiting their revenue share. And that money comes back to the house. And so those dollars are the ones that make an agent who's paying, if they pay us $500 a file for 10 deals, they're paying us $5,000, and we're putting half of that back into the rev share pool. So they're worth $2,500 to the company. That's a pretty skinny margin to run a brokerage. But because we're getting the revenue share they're forfeiting, they're worth to us more than that. And that's part of the reason why we can afford to provide full service brokerage benefits at 100% commission pricing.
Excellent. One thing that I liked was the what they do to market their agents, to give the agent that exposure. So tell us a little bit about that, how Robert take it to the next level and gives us, the agent, that exposure?
So living in Florida, many of the things I'm about to tell you are very likely to continue. But in kicking off this, I have my colleague coming in behind us here, so just bear with me. But one of the things that Robert thought was we're gonna really make the agent the star. So it starts with our logo. If you look at our logo, it's a little tiny circle with lowercase letters, and there are no guidelines other than being regulatorily compliant. It can be any color. You can match it to your brand. And the idea was that it was supposed to kind of sit in the background behind your brand. So that's the primary sort of philosophy with how we positioned LPT Realty. But Robert is a master marketer, and you guys being in South Florida haven't seen a lot of it because it's the last frontier of Florida. But Robert spent over $150 million advertising for his other companies, and he's tried everything. And so he knows how these things work. And because we spend so much money, we have a lot of leverage with our media partners. So some of the cool things that we've been able to do is we purchased a digital billboard package, and they're running in South Florida right now. And we put every agent on digital billboards. Now, we recognize that it's not going to necessarily get you a lot of deals, but what it is going to do when you take a picture of it, you can put it out on your social media as a way to excite your sphere. And there's wonderful stories of success where people said, "Oh, I didn't know you're a realtor. That's really cool." And they ended up getting deals because they were out there putting interesting content. And because it's interesting, they get a lot more action on their posts. Additionally, Robert built a lot of his career on radio. So we bought block programming up and down the state where we feature our agents on the radio show to allow them to talk about themselves and make themselves to be the experts that they are. And again, they can go on social media and say, "Hey, tune in to me at this point. I'll be on the radio." And then after the show, we give them a link to the actual show, and they can put another thing and say, "In case you missed it, check me out. I was on the radio." And this is a way for positioning you as an expert and giving you the additional confidence. Not only that, we're running television commercials, putting our agents in there. Robert said, "Why would I run a television commercial about LPT, the brand? I want to showcase my agents." And so it's a templatized solution, but we go in and we set up for the day, we bring makeup and we give them media training, and people can come in and be a part of that. And again, put it on social media. So these are interesting ways in which we're kind of taking a slightly different approach to highlight our agents and sort of give them that additional positioning. And Robert likes to say, that by stretching them and putting them in situations that they haven't normally be in, that it helps them to gain confidence. And he thinks that's a winning formula. And there's no question the agents enjoy it.
Which is mind blowing because I don't see any other broker doing that.
No,
Yeah.
to be honest, no. That are very good tools for us. All of them, the exposure and plus the benefits, plus the marketing tools, all of them together. Not too many broker right now are offering to the realtors right now. So,
Yeah. I mean, I think if I were to simplify it down, we really tried to make it a no-brainer. We really tried to say, if we could give agents everything they need to be successful and support them and give them a platform to grow and give them the flexibility to choose a comp plan that works for the type of business they want to do, then they will stay with us forever. And we have this concept of brokerage for life. And the idea is that you can stay there and you can continue to collect your revenue share, continue to have your stocks grow. And, if we feel like if we do our job well, there's no reason to leave.
Another question, Matthew, is the support. There's always complaints about the agent. "Oh, we need good support. We need good training. If I'm a new agent, would they have a mentorship program," and so forth? So what are your thoughts about, training and support from the company?
So we took a slightly different approach, I think, than other brokerages on support. Robert said, I challenge you to meet the agents where they want to be. And so we developed a platform that includes chat, which you can access from the app.
Mhm.
You can text our support team. You can email us, or you can simply pick up the phone and call us. We will be there to answer the phone. And then the support team is made up of very knowledgeable people. Robert was really fortunate because he had a stable of people who were very knowledgeable about real estate transactions that were working at his mortgage company. And we were able to recruit some of those people over to help with support. We also had agents that we put on salary who do not transact. They don't compete. So they have been in the trenches. They understand the challenges directly. And they're there. And then we have an escalation strategy. So for example, it's a call center and it's meant to be able to scale and support. So if you have like a title cloud issue, we don't think you need to talk to the broker. We think you need to talk to our legal team. So currently we have 4 lawyers who are on call to answer questions. And when the broker does have to get involved, we have 2 qualifying brokers in there, and Robert will scale against. We look at how other brokerages have scaled for the level of support they need. And currently where we are right now, Robert believes that we're scaled to support 3,000 to 4,000 agents conservatively, and we have 1,000 agents. So Robert wants to stay ahead of that and make sure that we deliver on this promise to be there when the agents need help. Additionally, on off hours, if a request comes in, we have it set up so that it round robins the executives. And so we've been very responsive, even at obscure times after hours, to support our agents.
What about when it comes to like educations?
Yeah, good question. So again, we are a cloud brokerage. So Robert hired 2 full-time instructors, and they teach classes regardless of whether one person shows up or 100 people show up. And they teach classes 5 days a week. And then we archive them in a library. And then we also transcribe them to make them searchable. Robert said, what good are they if somebody doesn't know what's in the video? So we actually transcribe them, and then we take out the keywords and make them searchable. Hang on one second. And we teach on diverse subjects, not just real estate. We have subject matter experts, people that handle things like Canva and social media. Robert wrote a couple of books about financial health. We even talk about that and speak to that, about making good financial decisions. If people are interested in that, there's a lot of stuff around marketing. Robert believes that marketing is the key. So we have this robust library. And one of the cool things that we decided to do was no corporate cram down of mortgage and title. By that I mean, even though Robert owns a big mortgage company and a big title company, he's pretty much firewalled our agents from using them, and he wants it to be scalable. And he knows that if he wanted people to use his own companies, that he couldn't grow fast enough. And he believes that the healthiest environment are for the agents to go out and establish the relationships with their best local experts, because he knows those folks are the ones that are going to come over and help you clean a carpet or help you get the deal across the finish line or run through walls. And as a thank you, Robert invites them to participate by providing education, which will allow them to get in front of our agents. And in that way, he believes that he can create the most healthy community. And I view the education library as a living, growing thing.
Let me ask you something, Matthew. Because you know that here in Miami, there is a second language that is Spanish, right? There is a second language here in Miami that is Spanish.
Yes. Yeah.
So my question is basically because I received this question for a lot of colleagues in my area. Are you going to have the training and all of these wonderful tools and the onboarding and everything in Spanish?
The short answer is yes. So we have a dedicated Spanish support team. Mm-hmm. In the office now. We have been transcribing key pieces of collateral into Spanish and the videos, so that those can be in place. It's happening, and there are things that are done. There's still more work to do. I think we have been very, very successful in the Spanish speaking communities. And so the demand for this stuff is really high. And I think within the next few weeks, we'll have even more stuff. And ultimately, we're committed to being bilingual.
Okay, awesome. And in regards to the office, the physical office, here in Miami, I know that we already have one, as my understanding. Are you planning to have more in a short term, or because I know that is a new company. I know that you are growing so fast, but that is a question that I have for another of my colleagues, that if you're going to give us that, that tool for more offices here in Miami.
So we have a couple of strategies around this. We're a cloud brokerage. We recognize that to have a physical address that's geographically relevant to where you do business, to recognize for your Google pay-per-click and the other postings that you have, that's important. So we immediately solved that by taking a Regus office in downtown Miami that gives you that centralized location. One of the concepts that is being developed and seems to be gaining traction is the concept of a hub. And it would be a shared workspace where agents would be able to come, and we would also have offices for outside mortgage and title in that area to help offset some of the costs. So that is one strategy. More immediately, one of the things that we've offered when people have brick and mortar tied to the brokerage, because we've done quite a few brokerage conversions, meaning that small brokerages has come over and joined. Mm-hmm. If they are willing and they will open their doors to any LPT agents, then we will offer rent relief to them in return for them making their offices available. This is an ongoing moving target because it has to make sense. They have to be in an area that's geographically relevant to where we have density, and they have to have enough space that it matters. Today, I would say that as we move through the state, I would say we started in Orlando, we moved to Tampa, we went to Jacksonville, and then we started going south. You guys are kind of as far south as we've gotten. And so we've gotten to you sort of more recently. And I don't think we've had enough time to kind of get everybody who's coming on board to understand if we're going to get those hubs. But when we were conceiving this brokerage, and we were doing all the heavy lifting, all the work, it was right in the middle of COVID. And we were like, yeah, cloud brokerage, nobody wants to go to an office. Nobody needs an office. It's a new world. And now what
everybody
we find out
wants to go.
Everybody wants to go to the office. So we have some things to solve for there. And while we don't have all the answers today, or we don't have all the solutions, I should say, we do have somebody guiding us who is sensitive to that and understands and is listening. I don't know how much you guys have gotten to interface with Robert or gotten to know Robert, but he's a really dynamic leader, but he wants to hear from people and he reacts to it. He doesn't think he has every single answer, and what he thinks may not be the right thing all the time. And so as this becomes more a chorus of voices of people who would like to have an office, I believe that we will take more action. So today, I don't think there's a lot of options in Miami, but I know it's part of our strategy.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, Matthew.
Excellent.
So we have one more question, right, Kelby?
Yes, I have one more question, which is how many agents does LPT have so far, and what are their projections? Do they project to expand in other states, other countries? What are the end goal for LPT?
I have an answer. I have answers for it. Boy, I've been able to answer all of your questions. It makes me feel good. So I got a good answer for this one too. Yeah, so we started in Florida. This is the home state for the company, and we really wanted to. We're technically in what we call soft launch. On August 8th, we're going into the official launch of the company, and I see a question just popped up in the chat. I'll answer that one too. And so while we are in Florida, we had some projection goals, and Robert is very aggressive. but we hit our goals. And in 6 months, we've added 1,000 agents in Florida.
Wow.
On 8/8, Robert will announce the next states that we're going into. When they open up is sort of a question of when we feel like we have critical mass there, because Robert's bootstrapped all his own businesses. Robert's a self-made guy. He's never gotten a dollar from anybody. He's done it all with his own capital. And so to be efficient, he wants to make sure that we have critical mass in the state before we turn that on. And so a state that is showing a lot more interest is likely to move up the list. But I can tell you the states that are being opened up next are going to be in no particular order. It's going to be based on the criteria I just mentioned. We're going to be in Texas. Rodney knows that, who's on the call. Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Georgia. So kind of a little bit of a geographic movement north from where we are. And so that's sort of the next phase. We have had ongoing discussions with people in Canada and Puerto Rico. And those are also for international expansion. That is also a plan, though I guess Puerto Rico is technically a US territory, but you get what I mean. And the reason that those locations are important to us is because they have highly regulated real estate infrastructure, much like the United States. And we want to stay with places that, have a lot of controls built in place, a lot of integrity. And so that's the strategy. As I mentioned earlier, Robert's stated goal is to build the biggest brokerage in the world. We're going to go public. And just to give you a target, Keller Williams claimed to have 180,000 plus agents. And then they did something that is known as the purge. And they found that they had like 20,000 wrong information. They really only had 160,000 agents. And that's kind of the ceiling. Robert has said in closed circles that he'd like to get to 200,000, but his goal is to get north of 160. And the reason that's important is that all our interests are aligned, because if Robert's right and he's able to get there, one could extrapolate that the value of our stock would be worth more than other companies that didn't have as many agents. And because we're owners of the company as agents, our interests are aligned that way. So the growth is to go national, to go public, but to do it in a strategic way that will allow us to tell a story to the investors at Wall Street as to why we're a wonderful investment. And so the timing of some of this growth and when we choose to go public will be a function of Robert's sensibilities on when the market is going to bear the most opportunity for everybody involved.
Perfect. We have one question here that is not part of our question, it's part of our audience question. And he said that what plan, if you can share with us what plan has for luxury marketing? Yeah.
So we're going to have a whole separate marketing solution for luxury. It's going to be printed. It's going to be printed on thicker paper. It's going to have more robust spreads on the print side. And how you trigger that is a little fuzzy right now. One of the ideas, and I apologize, it just started raining here and it might be a little loud, so I'm going to move to a room that doesn't have the skylights. Sorry about this.
Okay, don't worry.
We're going to have luxury marketing, and then we're also looking at ultra luxury plays that would be baked into the brokerage. It's a little more complex and it's not as fully developed, but a market like Miami that can handle ultra luxury, they've got homes in the tens of millions of dollars. Robert wants to be in that market as well. And he wants people to be able to recruit agents into those brokerages. And he wants those people to be able to recruit people into LPT. And so he's got very robust plans, but yes, we will have a dedicated marketing for LPT agents. And I think it's going to be predicated right now. The conventional thinking is at a certain amount above the median home price. If it's like 2x the median pro home price in the market, it may qualify, or the top 10% of all home prices. He's kind of trying to give some qualification as to what would trigger that for the agents.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, so let me see. We have so far more questions. Kelby, do you have another question?
I don't see no questions, guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. Or you can just open the mic and ask questions. This is the time to ask any questions you guys want.
I typically interpret the lack of questions as the fact that my answers were so thorough that nobody has any questions.
Yes, so.
That's right.
Yes, so.
Perfect. No, there is no more questions. So, okay, thank you so much, Matt, for your time. Thank you very much for sharing this wonderful information with us. And thank you, Kelby, also to be with us. And okay, I think that we're gonna have more questions, later with the other realtors. So, but anyway, it was a wonderful time with you, and thank you again for this opportunity. Okay.
Yeah, reach out anytime with other questions. We're really excited to have you guys on board, and it's been a lot of fun. And we're going to continue to have fun and do really innovative things. So I hope the rest of you guys consider joining us for this. Have a great night, everybody.
Okay, take care. Bye bye.
Thank you very much, Matthew.
Thank you, everybody, to be here.
Thank you, guys.
Bye bye. Have a good night.
Good night. And remember, guys, if you guys have any additional question, to contact the realtor that invited you. So if you have additional questions, if I invited you, you can text me. If Maria invited you, whoever invited you, talk to that agent, because we're here to help you and answer all the questions. Maybe questions that we didn't cover here, we can cover in person or via the phone. So thank you very much for your time and have a nice day.
Thank you. Have a good night. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.